The 2022 Formula 1 season will see one of the most substantial set of regulation changes in the sport's history. One of the main objectives these new rules aim to achieve is to shake up the competitive order and provide better racing. Way too often do we hear drivers complain about the inability to get close to the car in front due to the area of disturbed airflow, or wake. This has made overtaking more of a challenge, as running too close behind another car causes the tyres to wear at a faster rate. However, not only will overtaking hopefully become a lot easier, but teams will have a chance to greatly reduce the gap between themselves and the all-conquering Mercedes-Benz. Unless you've been living under a rock, you'll know that Mercedes have completely dominated the turbo hybrid era. 7 straight constructors titles, 7 straight drivers titles, you know how the story goes. They have been the team to beat for quite some time now, but everything could change come next season. It will be crucial for teams to get the balance right between their development through this year and their switch to put all their time, energy and resources into next year. Being at an advantage at the start of the new era means that for the following years, you are bound to be in a much better position compared to the others, and the same works in reverse. Now, for Mercedes, life would have been a lot easier if they had a large buffer to the next best team like in previous years. But this season, things are different. Red Bull finally have a car capable of taking the championship fight to the Silver Arrows, meaning the latter cannot fully focus on the W13 as soon as they would have liked. So what I want to get into today is how exactly will the 2022 regulations impact the battles up and down the grid in 2021. First off, let's take a look at what teams have said about when they plan to switch their focus onto 2022. Starting from the back of the grid, we have Haas, who have made it clear that they won't bother developing the VF21 for the rest of the season. In what Günther Steiner described as taking one step back to take 2 steps forward, Haas will use 2021 as a transitional year heading into the new era. This will involve helping their drivers make progress through their debut season so that come next year, they are well up to speed. We have on our side 2 good young drivers. Okay. Success will not be measured in points, but by how much progress these guys are making, because we've got 2 young guys that want to make it, and we know they will get ready for next year. Well, regardless of the struggles they may endure this season, at least Mazepin will let his racing do the talking.
And then it falls a little bit downhill into 13, you do go across the wind there, and basically, just no grip.
Moving on to Williams, they are more or less taking the same approach as Haas. Team boss Jost Capito has already come out and stated that they won't compromise 2022 development for gains on the FW43B. They aren't completely writing off 2021 though. They plan to bring as many upgrades as possible throughout the season and consistently challenge for points every weekend. For Alfa Romeo, again, it's pretty much the same story. In fact, it's even more crucial for them to learn from what's happened the last time there were major regulation changes back in 2017. They ended that year dead last and have since been unable to recover the deficit. Technical director Jan Monchaux alluded to this in the Auto, Motor und Sport publication, stating, "All you have to do is look at the story of Sauber. 2017 was the last major change to the regulations, and for a variety of reasons, the team was unable to do its job properly back then. If you start with a handicap under these rules, it's over. You're not catching that up again." Now moving on to the midfield teams, things get very interesting. Leading the way currently, we have McLaren and Ferrari, who are both looking to return to glory in the new era, but are locked in a tight battle for 3rd place in the constructors. Behind those 2 are Alpine, AlphaTauri and Aston Martin, who haven't had the smoothest of starts, but are looking to turn their fortunes around as quickly as they can. From what we've seen so far, Aston Martin have become a victim of their own hype. In the opening 4 rounds of 2020, the then Racing Point team had scored a total of 42 points and sat P5 in the Constructors' Championship, only 9 points behind McLaren in P3. This year, they sit P7 with only 5 points, once again behind the working-based team in 3rd, but this time by a whopping 60 points. Some say they should just accept the situation and write off 2021 altogether. However, according to newcomer Sebastian Vettel, he believes that it would be a wasted opportunity if Aston Martin puts all their focus into 2022 this early on in the season. There are so many things that we can still learn and we can still have a better understanding of as a team. Even if you know we are not racing in the positions we would love to, I think it's still time well spent. The team are already working on clawing back the deficit, however, they might be forced to stop developing the AMR01 sooner rather than later. Judging by their plan to challenge for titles within the next 3 to 5 years, they are going to need to start the new era off on the right foot. Otherwise, they risk suffering the same fate as a team like Renault, who had planned to challenge for championships again in 2020 after their return to the sport in 2016. AlphaTauri have had a decent start to the season, but they've not fully maximized every opportunity. Given that both Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda have a strong package underneath them, the team will not divert from their original plan on when to focus on 2022. As for Alpine, they experienced some problems over the winter, which cost them, quotes, a few weeks of development. This is why they started the season on the back foot, but despite the setback, they have recovered some of that deficit. Upgrades were brought to both the Emilia-Romagna and Portuguese Grand Prix, where they bagged a total of 13 out of the 15 points they have scored so far. Given that these improvements worked well in Barcelona, the rest of the season is set to bring only more great results. Like most other teams, Alpine plan to prioritize 2022 while still focusing enough on this year to get the best possible results in the championship. Based on the teams we have covered so far, we can conclude that they have all either completely turned their attention to next year's cars or are prioritizing their development over the current ones. So, can the same be said for the top 4 teams? Well, for McLaren and Ferrari, yes. In fact, in the Scuderia's case, they are now 90 to 95% focused on 2022 and won't compromise this approach to try and snatch P3 away from McLaren. Ferrari should be fighting the likes of Mercedes and Red Bull for championships, so taking this approach makes perfect sense, given the greater opportunity the new regulations present. The same goes for McLaren. According to Andreas Seidel, the team are not far away from doing the same. So what does this mean for Mercedes and Red Bull? Will they be under pressure to shift their focus earlier than they would want? We've got to remember that this year is a golden opportunity for Red Bull to stop the Arrows from doing a clean sweep of all the championships in the turbo hybrid era. They have a generational talent in Max Verstappen, who is driving better than ever, and a car fast enough to give the W12 a run for its money on a weekend by weekend basis. Sure, it may have its weaknesses, but it also has many strengths. If they can get it together and really put Mercedes-Benz under pressure, the reigning world champions could be forced to sacrifice the championship this year for long-term success in the following years. Now, of course, this is much easier said than done. Mercedes and Hamilton as a combo are still the best out there, and it would take a monumental effort for anyone, not just Red Bull and Verstappen, to take them off their throne. However, according to the most reliable source in the F1 community, Dr. Helmut Marko, he says that his team are betting on their chances in 2021 and are willing to sacrifice 2022 development to stop their rivals.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now!
Ignoring the sarcasm for just a second, I, for once, can actually believe what Marko is saying. He and Horner have always possessed somewhat of a bitterness towards Mercedes. Not because they don't respect them, but because they have been trying to beat them for the last 7 straight years and failed every single time. They desperately want one over them before the new era begins. I believe that they'll throw everything they can at this year in order to win, even if that means a slow start in 2022. Toto Wolff has also said that falling short in the championship in favour of next year is not an option. It's clear that you can't afford to not perform in 21. But equally, the 22 regulations are going to be in place for quite some time. Once you start with a deficit, it's very difficult to catch up, so it will take a while for performance to converge. And that's the key, isn't it? Almost all the teams will have different ways of balancing resources going towards 21 and 22 development, but with the same goal in mind, to not compromise one for the other. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to unfold as the season progresses, so be sure to look out for more videos in the future covering a similar topic. Now, the question I want to pose to you guys is, do you think teams like McLaren and Ferrari will benefit from the development wars between Mercedes and Red Bull? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, be sure to like and subscribe as it really helps me out, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.